Uno, dos, one, two, tres, cuatro.
Well, welcome back. You guys are here. It's Rethink Your Legacy time again. My name is Francisco Servent. Welcome back. Today is a little bit of a different topic. I read some quotes every morning. I love good quotes. I don't know if you guys like good quotes, but this one from Steve Jobs just hit me this morning. Being the richest man in the cemetery doesn't matter to me. Steve Jobs said that. Being the richest man in the cemetery doesn't matter to me. Going to bed at night saying we've done something wonderful, that's what matters to me. It's neat to hear somebody's words who are impactful. The words are impactful even beyond their own life. There's so many things like that. That's what is neat about what we do. And I think so many people are looking for good information. This is what you need to look for, these three things. If you're trying to figure out, maybe it's been 30 years since you last updated your will, your trust. Is it time? It's always time. Our firm has a big litigation department that deals with people's estates who thought they had more time. And most of those actually have a will, have a trust in place. It's just old, and it just doesn't feel relevant to life anymore. But they passed away. That's what they had in place. And so now it's like just a big mess trying to get it to work. Fighting against the banks, fighting against a title company, fighting against the IRS, the probate court. Sometimes the heirs fighting against each other. You don't want any of that. What you do, three things. Whoever you talk to about getting this done for your family, make sure they include these three things. I was not trained this when I was brought up as a young lawyer, had figured out the hard way. Number one, everybody's going to do number one. Very few are going to do number two, and almost nobody does number three. So let them give you their sales pitch and see if they hit those three things. If they have a process for all three things, if they aren't just inventing it on the fly. Now that you're an educated consumer and you ask the right questions, no, wait and see what they tell you if these three things are part of their plan, part of their service. Number one, everybody's going to do this. All the legal documents, right? You all need the legal documents. Big surprise. Number two, you got to fund your trust. That's about as much instruction as you get from most places out there. You set up your trust and they go, you got to fund your trust. And you say, great. And you move on. They never tell you what that means. They never follow up and make sure it's done. They never help you make sure you know how to do that. That second piece, if you don't do that, the whole first stuff is basically going to end up broken anyway. Got to fund your trust. And number three, unless this is a really scary moment for you and you've got that terminal diagnosis and you're going to go soon, that's not most of us, right? We are hoping to be around for a long time. So when do you want all this stuff to work? You want it to work some unknown year in the future. And so, yeah, you got to keep it up to date. Year after year after year after year after year after year after however many years it's going to be. You got to keep this up to date. If you don't do that, whatever you invested in number one might make you feel good for a bit, but then it just gets more and more and more and more and more irrelevant by the time it's needed. You got to start all over again. Or by the time it's needed, you can't fix it. You get 10 years down the road, you think, I got to start all over again. Whatever you invest in that is not going to work years down the road. It's just not. The way our legal system has gone in the last 30, 40 years, this has now got to be a budget on everybody's, an item on everybody's budget year after year. And you got to make sure they have a way to keep you up to date as life goes on through all the stages of life. If they don't, they're missing a big thing, and it's going to affect you big time, or your loved ones, the people that you're doing this for. Back to Steve Jobs' quote, we don't want to be the richest guy in the cemetery. We want to make sure we did something wonderful with our life. And if your loved ones, if you're going to look at them in the eyes and say, I know I took care of this. I know I did deep down in my soul. I know I took care of this. You got to have those three things. You got to have all the legal documents. You got to fund your trust. And you got to keep this stuff up to date. That's what we do at our firm. And if you need help with that, click and schedule your first free call with us anytime right now. All right, guys, take care.